can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news on this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? Manchester United are back. International break is just about over. We are back to football ways. We have Brighton this Saturday at home at Old Trafford, and then things really gear up. Champions League football is back next week. We're going to Munich, big game against Bayern, Harry Kane, and United, I think, finally getting back to football ways this weekend is nice because this whole international break has been all about the Manchester United circus, sir. The Anthony stuff, Sancho. Now we're getting the Magoo. His mom's tweeting or talking Fabrizio, but if your mom is going out into the world and defending what's happening around your playtime, what's happening around his reception on the England team, you got a lot of boos, classic England fans as usual. But poor Harry Maguire should have taken that opportunity to move to West Ham. Couldn't agree on the payout with Manchester United. That speaks a lot about Harry Maguire. And here we are. He's still at the club. Another L on the old transfer list of players that have gone bad over the last 10 years. That is a hell of a list. But how you feeling? How we doing?
New shirt sponsor, Snapdragon Qualcomm, 60 million pounds a year. That is actually a good sign for Manchester United. Team viewers out. The Zoom competitor getting kicked in the teeth in the stock market. They had to back out of the deal. But look, that says something about Manchester United, and that's unfortunately a point for Team Glazer. The front of the shirt, the value going up. That is a big one for United. You look at teams across the league, who wants to buy the front of the Scouse Bastard shirt? United playing horrible shit football, and people want to pay a lot of money for that shirt. So that's a good sign, but at the same time, it does help the Glazers and their current run and probably what the asking price of the deal. I mean, if you want to talk about negotiation tactics, saying, hey, the value of this club, the value of this shirt's going up, pay up Qatar, pay up Jim Ratcliffe. Obviously, there was some news this week on that front, but the Glazers don't look like they're going anywhere just yet. They continue to milk this club for all it's worth.
Hey, we know who they are. We've been talking about it for a long time. Sale process is now, 10 months in, and we don't look any closer to a resolution than we were even at the beginning. Whether this is an indication that they're sticking around or they're trying to push up the asking price. We're also hearing a lot of news in the pressers just about, both Ratcliffe and Qatar in for the long game. I think the Glazers are in for the long game. We pointed out in the last pod, Avram and Joel, they're not that old, 58 and 62. They have a lot of years to hang around to this asset to try and get as much money out of it as possible. But Manchester United, whether we're doing well on the field or not, we can still command a top fee around sponsorships. Right there was the Adidas deal, the 10-year deal that was a little bit of the same run rate, but still a bumper deal for shirts. And now Qualcomm, our new sponsor. You knew Team Viewer wasn't going to last. They're bleeding cash. Like we said, John and I both work in technology in California. I never seen Qualcomm Team Viewer in the wild. Not once. Zoom's doing, they're having a hard enough time as is because of kind of everyone going back to work and not as many people using Zoom. But I had never seen Team Viewer. I always kind of suspected that they were going to need an out because 47 million pounds a year is a lot of money for a company that doesn't make any money.
Never seen a Snapdragon either. I don't know what that is, but we'll take the money so we can splash it on some transfer flops there I smell are coming our way. We got to feed those coffers for United and John Murtaugh, Richard Arnold to go out and spend more money. I think that's exactly the state of the club. Quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils, you enjoy the Muppet Take. We don't have any sponsors on the podcast, so check out our Patreon page, the best way to support us. We're 100% fan-backed, patreon.com/American Red Devils. There's tons of benefits. You get an extra podcast every month. Check it out. You want to be the top, the creme de la creme of the American Red Devils community. Join our Patreon. Also, check out our website, AmericanRedDevils.com, AmericanRedDevils.store for scarves, pins, shirts, stickers, you name it. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically by other fans like yourself. And we've got a free giveaway. We're giving away free American Red Devil designed scarves. All you have to do is write a 5-star review wherever you listen, ideally on Spotify or iTunes, and send a screenshot of that review to AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick back and ship a free ARD scarf, send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great review from Graynar. Best Red Devils podcast on either side of the pond. I've been listening to this podcast weekly for months now, and I can easily say this is my favorite sport podcast. These guys are very well informed and never fail to crack me up. Keep the Excuse Factory running. That's what I'm here for. And if you're a Man United fan, you got to listen to this podcast. Love you guys. Glory, glory, Man United. Thank you for the great review. Thank you for everyone getting writing those 5-star reviews. I'm hoping the Excuse Factory is not working overtime on Saturday after we play Brighton, sir. Let's get into it.
It's not going to. Excuse Factory is not going to be working overtime during the game. It's going to be on the podcast after the
that's
game.
what I'm
when Alex
referencing.
gets warmed up. There we go. Alex said he worked in technology in Northern California. He works on excuse technology in Northern California.
Exactly.
He just founded an excuse AI startup for all football clubs.
Now that's an idea. I'm telling you. AI that literally just makes
blast
excuses
it out
for
on
us
social.
on the
Create
sake
all
of
these-
Manchester United.
It automatically creates all these bots and blasts out excuses for your football club on social media, so you don't have to play good football. You can just
here we
have
go.
good propaganda, a la the Glazers. Speaking of good propaganda, we have a next match: Manchester United versus Brighton and Hove Albion. That's right, the Seagulls coming to Old Trafford Saturday, September 16th, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. If anyone remembers, we did lose to them. Oh, to start the season in August, 2-1 at home. So the last time we played them, brutal. Lifetime versus Brighton, 20 games won, 5 drawn, 6 lost. First time we played them, 1909, 1-0 in the FA Cup. Since then, they're on the ascendancy. We have won 2 of the last 3. They have our number. And one of those was in penalties in the FA Cup, if you recall. So technically, in full time, we have only beaten them once in the last 5, including that 2-1 defeat at home to open the season last year. I'm having flashbacks to that. Matoma on the wing. Obviously, the Ferguson, the new striker, hit a hattie. Everything looks to be coming up. Roses for Brighton. They sell Casiedo. He's no good at Chelsea. Their midfield doesn't need him. It's like literally
Opposite of us.
they're bizarro Manchester United.
I know they are.
They sell a player, they don't miss him.
Yeah.
They make tons of money, and regardless of who their manager is, they continue to play like amazing attacking football and in an organized, coherent fashion. One that we have yet to find. Help me
Chelsea
get up for
do?
this game. No, Brighton.
Oh yeah, Brighton.
Brighton are the bizarro Manchester United. They get rid of Graham Potter. They get this other no-name guy from La Liga. He's amazing. Every player they touch turns to 100 million, and every game they play well. We saw them at the Emirates put the knife in Arsenal at home against Arsenal, and they played amazing. I mean, Matoma was out, lights out. Obviously, Casiedo. He's gone, and they don't need him. That's the most amazing part about Brighton. And then they find this Ferguson kid who's starting the season hot. Imagine if we had him or a striker scoring a hat trick.
A goal.
Yeah, exactly. Name the last player to score a hat trick for Manchester United.
Ronaldo.
Damn straight. Put some respect on that name.
There we go, Ronaldo. Bring him back. Brighton. Brighton are the best run team, probably for their size, arguably in the world. I mean, they're incredibly well run. They're like a testament to what Manchester United should be. They just chip way above their weight. The fact that they sold their entire midfield last year for like 160 million, and not only just Casiedo, but also McAllister, sir. We saw that game, like you mentioned, at the Emirates where they got fucking battered by the Gunners when their title run truly collapsed, which was in its own way.
They battered the Gunners, right?
What'd you say?
They battered the Gunners.
Excuse me. The Gunners got battered by Brighton at the Emirates at home. And they're effectively, the title race was already over, but that really kind of put a stake through their heart. They're an unbelievably well-run team. They're an unbelievably well-run club from their ascendancy, sir. I think we went to go see them, 6 years ago against Stoke, I believe, at the Emirates. This is not the Emirates, at the Amex. This is the famous, you say, I ate 10 pies, 40 pies,
there's a
100
photo of
pies.
Alex at the Amex. Pie record in one match. This guy has a photo of him and all the pie tins on the wall.
You haven't been
The
to England,
chefs,
bro. I can't take a run at the champs. I'm sure people are literally eating 10 pies.
It was a lot.
It was
like you
story.
keep going back and the chef knows you.
Whatever you say.
And they're like, we're out. We ran out of pies.
Whatever you say.
Alex, we got no pies left.
Whatever you say.
They got a mean pie at the Amex. That's all you need to know. And a nice stadium.
Very nice stadium. Nice town. I don't like them. I don't like anyone when we play, but Brighton, they're going to be a tough match. And this is a big run for the team to pick up some form. We got a lot of fucking bullshit drama that's happened over the last 2 weeks. United has not played up to their ability. There's a lot of controversy at the club at the moment. I think this is an important game to get some momentum, to start the run-up until the next international break a month from now. And like you said, Evan Ferguson, the kid's a player, Matoma, et cetera, sir.
We have twitched our ass on the bench.
It's one of these.
Do you understand what I mean?
I don't.
Do you understand?
Half the time I didn't understand what that crazy Dutch bastard was
I
saying.
know that one. This could be like feeling this could be tight.
Oh, Jesus.
Brighton coming into this game. Don't need to worry at all. They battered Wolves 4-1, the team that came into our house and had a record amount of shots since, I think, the mid-2000s. They did lose to West Ham 3-1, and they did just destroy Newcastle. Ferguson with a hattie. I watched that game. Brighton playing like lights out. It's amazing what they can do around in the final third. That's going to be the real issue for United. Who's healthy at the end of the day? Who's going to be in that back line? Because we're talking about Harry and Magoo. If he's there, that's going to hurt for United. That's something we're not even factoring into this match. Who is healthy? Little history on Brighton. Founded 1901, nicknamed the Seagulls or Albion. Brighton played their early professional football in the Southern League before being elected to the Football League in 1920. And in the 16-17 season, Brighton finished second in the EFL Championship and were then promoted to Premier League, and they've been a mainstay ever since. In 22-23, they finished sixth in the Premier League, their highest top-flight finish ever, and they qualified for the Europa League. So they're actually playing in Europe. That is a challenge for teams like Brighton, but we shall see how they perform. Regardless, a team on the ascendancy under a young, hungry manager. 4-2-3-1 is the formation. Solly Marsh, Ferguson, they got Billy Gilmore, Dunk, you know the characters, and Estupiñán. Everyone has him on fantasy, sir, so you know the drill. Matoma on the left, like looking lights out.
Their recruitment is incredible. I mean, they're a machine. And it's crazy to say that a team that's not like a city or what United used to be, an actual machine in terms of their ability to recruit, to hire new managers, right? Like everyone was big up in, what's his face? Graham Potter. He leaves. They bring in some guy that many of us had never heard of. I hadn't, and he's arguably better than Graham Potter, right? They sell their midfield. They bring in new lads. So they're one of those teams where United, I don't know, like, how did we get brought into the Fred mess? I think we followed City's league because they were attached to him. If you see Brighton going for a player, you should go after that player because they just have an incredible front office, an incredible scouting team. And if United were trying to get serious and trying to get their shit together and not just like piss money down the drain, I would poach as many individuals from that club from a high level perspective. Forget the pitch. Anyone in the front office, I would take in a fucking instant over the numpties that we have running the show. So they're a testament to like what you can do if you go low and slow. You don't have to do the Saudi approach. You don't have to do the Newcastle move or the City move where you just throw cash at it. It's like they are, arguably a Harvard business case study in how to bring a football club to the 21st century.
I mean, we did cover here extensively at the podcast. Their director of football was up for grabs, and he went to Newcastle and like covered his whole career, everything. We covered who runs the football operations for all the top clubs in the world and compare them to the morons we have at Manchester United. who literally have no experience. Richard Arnold being a number 2 to arguably the worst sporting executive of all time. And then John Murtaugh literally came from Everton as a trainer with David Moyes.
Incredible.
No experience building a roster, no experience building a club between the two of them. And to be honest, if you don't have that experience, how could you expect them to do well ultimately? That's just the one thing. Some call it just absolute incompetence from the board. Who knows? But the board's clapping all day because of that Snapdragon deal. So you have to think of the commercial side and the football side. And we know what the Glazers are thinking. But let's get into injuries. Oof. Long list here.
Long list.
Luke Shaw.
Nice.
Kobe Manu, heard that he could be coming back. Malasia, haven't heard much. Varane, same. Martinez, Amrabat. This one, he wasn't injured. Then he was injured. I love that. Isn't this amazing about being a United fan? Is like everyone's like, he has a back injury during the medical, and then everyone's like, no, he doesn't. Then he goes on international duty, and they're like, he's injured. Like, what's the point of the fan buying
back injuries?
No, I understand, but what's the point of the fans buying that BS? You know, like people are like, he's not injured. You don't know nothing. What is these people are making up these medical injury rumors like for fun? Like
we don't know nothing. They're saying Martinez is carrying a foot injury because he came back too soon, and the fact that like he shouldn't even gone down to Argentina. And to be fair, the coach there even called it out. Like, we're not going to rush back Lissandro, as they should not. But these injuries, bro, I've never seen anything like this list. It's gotten, I'm sure there are times in the last decade where we've had crazy injury crises, but at the moment, it's hitting the back line in a big way to a point where we are looking thin. And at the same time, like you said, just signing a player, even on loan, in Amrabat. That back injury, I'll tell you what, back injuries are tough ones. It's like you don't want to rush it. And obviously, the players have a lot of sensitivity because back injury, I don't know if you ever hurt your back, but when you do, that thing is a bitch all the time. So I'm sure like that's not something you want to rush. And at the same time, we've got a lot of games. Midfield is like actually one of the positions where we have a little bit of depth now because we've signed some good midfielders. But either way, these injuries are not going away.
Next one, big one here. The big ticket, some might say, number one Mason Mount fan right here on the planet, baby. Let's go. Anthony suspended and Ahmad knee injury. Not a lot of color here. The only players that I have heard are getting back to it. Mount back in training.
Yep.
Manu could be a shout as well. Left back looks to be pretty rough. Given those injuries, what is your starting 11? Ten Hag, let's see.
I got Onana in net. Looks like he's going to the African Cup of Nations in January. That's not good for United. Back four is going to be AWB, Lindelof, Martinez, Delo. I'm going to go with the Classico. I don't know if he's going to play something more defensive. I don't know if Amrabat is ready, but so I'm going to go Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Rashford on the left, Højlund up front, Garnacho on the right. Sir, what do you got?
We get Reguilon. You got to play him, right? So you can't just you're going to play Delo out of position and just bench Reguilon? Is that the idea?
We have Bayern. We have Bayern 4 days later.
He played well. Delo played
well
out of
against
position.
Arsenal. That's
but
what
the
I'm
problem
going
is
for
then why,
again.
like director of football, why are you buying this Reguilon guy?
Because we have a lot of games, right? And the Shaw injury is probably a bad one.
Who we playing?
Who?
What team we playing?
What, after Brighton
Yeah.
or this weekend? Bayern Munich, ever heard of them?
Never.
You never heard of them? Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah,
what
what did you say?
We beat them to beat the treble.
Bayern Munich.
München.
Bayern Munich.
They got good beer. They got good pretzels and sausages, and we've had some good times in Munich. But that's going to be a tough match. That's going to be the toughest match of the group, sir.
Yeah, it's going to be
Tough match. We got to get some momentum going. We got to win against Brighton because I tell you what, 2 L's in a row.
It might be early West Coast time, but just you mentioned Bayern Munich. That woke me up.
You're up.
Going Onana in net, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof. We're going Lindelof Maguire. We're going full in. Let's go. Delo out of position. Cass, Eriksen, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund, and Palestri.
There you
You
go.
something's got to give. Garnacho ain't going to start on the right. You can't put him. You can't start playing young players out of position like that, in my opinion. Sir, we got the bookies odds here. Yeah, you want to give them to us?
United the favorites at home plus 115, the draw plus 300, and Brighton plus 205. So United are the favorites. Don't like that. I like when people are assuming we're not going to do well. That usually makes me feel a little bit better. But that is what the bookies think.
I mean, free money on Brighton +2. You get 2 times your money, unfortunately, sir. Give me your prediction.
I think it's going to be like a 1-1, a draw. I don't think we're going to play that bad, but Brighton are a hell of a team, and everything's kind of going against United at the moment. I'm hoping we can get a victory.
Respect, man, respect.
For what? Respect. Okay, go ahead. Let's hear John's perspective.
No, I was just saying, 1-1 is respect.
Respect to who? Brighton or us?
With us, it's 3-0.
3-0 Brighton?
3-0 Brighton. Curb stomp. Let's go.
And only in sex masochism. Then it is allowed.
3-0, bro.
Sir,
I'll bet against that.
Alex is getting upset, but here's the
I just think that's
I
enough
can
to
tell.
take.
You guess that we're going to lose big, that the footballing gods are listening, so that we shall not lose big.
All right,
That's
10-0
the
Brighton.
game.
10-0 Brighton. We're going to smoke them.
There's a little bit of that going on, but then there's a little bit of just like, lower the expectations for coming back on Saturday. Let's go. United the news, we touched on it. Manchester United confirmed Qualcomm's Snapdragon is new shirt sponsor, 60 million quid, $75 million per year.
A lot of bullion, sir.
Biggest shirt sponsorship in world football. That is the price tag. They're paying a lot of money to see that sponsorship plastered over players, not raising trophies, but players sulking on social media with giant articles next to their name. That seems to be where like, if you think
What did I say?
I'm just trying to say, if you think of like where the impressions are coming from, it's not from like lifting trophies and
Talk
like,
sport.
It's literally like sad fat Jadon Sancho out of shape, like head down, and
Can't wait to talk about
giant article, like, and that's where your sponsorship is. Like, that's ultimately where are you seeing the shirt? It's like there. It's the game has changed. The social media, it's all over the world. If you think about it, the press, the socials, everything. And I'm sure United are smart to give the numbers to back that up. And I'm about to learn a lot about Snapdragon. The only question is the shirt going to have Qualcomm Snapdragon? Is it going to have a logo of a dragon?
No.
If so, how is that going to look? You know me, like, because we had the gold grill Chevrolet. Now that gives me nightmares if there could be some like tacky dragon on here, but I'll defer to you.
I mean, it's not, we don't know yet, so everyone's speculating. They're saying it's going to be Snapdragon proper. Qualcomm is a chip company, computer chips. That's very in the news in the last couple of years. And Snapdragon is like the consumer side around cell phones and other type devices. It's a company people have heard of. No one heard of TeamViewer. I'll tell you what, I don't mean to put TeamViewer through the mud. Like I said, I ain't never seen TeamViewer in the wild. And though you not be like interacting with a Qualcomm, their products are everywhere. This speaks to the staying power of Manchester United. This speaks to, like you talk about a lot, sir, the valuation. If you peg it versus a Washington Commanders, if a club is still able to command a record amount for their shirt sponsor when we've been horribly managed over the last decade, and the club has been underperforming given their spend over that same time period, and they can still command the most money in world football. Well, that's why they want $6 billion, because this is not just some random football club. This is Manchester United, arguably one of the most premier assets in all of sport. And that's good for United because we love this club, and that's a huge part of why it's so valuable. But at the same time, that's a huge part of why the Glazers are still hanging around the hoop and look to be, for the time being. Sir, do we have a sale update? You got something good for me, or is it just more Glazers staying?
So are you pro Snapdragon or anti Snapdragon?
I think a big part of it is the aesthetics. Like, I care what it look. I mean, really, as long as they can pay the bill and we're getting paid top dollar. What does it look like on the front of the shirt? Like, I was not a huge AIG fan, but like it was just white, and that's the best way to do it. TeamViewer I don't give a shit about TeamViewer, but it looks a lot better than the worst of the worst, which was that fucking grill that we had for 8 years with Chevy.
All right, Snapdragon. Buy. We're buying Snapdragon all day here.
Buying Qualcomm.
The sale update, and the only thing there's been some
The Brighton.
there's been some crumbs Essentially, the move from the Glazers, and this is from Phil, at Molly. I can't even say that. Mollikins. He's been on the pod before, so he's a friend of the pod. We like Phil. We're a big fan.
I know.
This got picked up. He's saying that he's an insider. I can't. I don't know, but we're grasping at straws here. Fans want to know what's going on with the club. Apparently, Glazers are trying to work with Ineos, not to just let them stay, but to have voting rights on the board. So it would be more of a 50-50 situation where they would have a vote and they'd have to work together with Ratcliffe. And that ultimately stems from their valuation. If they push up the price, push up the value, their half is actually worth more. And I could see, I always thought as soon as the sale kind of momentum stopped, it would be one of these raise some money from the United States via some like hedge fund, give them $1 billion, $2 billion, or like strategic investment, or it'd be like this with Ratcliffe where they can negotiate everything they want and essentially still be in the mix. Because if you think about it from the Glazer perspective, and I think this is what Qatar doesn't understand, Qatar's like, accept my low ball offer and be happy with it. You gotta court a buyer. This is the crown jewel in world football. You have to court the Glazers. You have to get into their head. What do they want? What are they nervous about? How can you get them to accept the deal? And one way to accept it would be like, hey, the transition of control is going to take 10 years, and there's all these stipulations for it to happen, so they feel absolutely comfortable. They're going to get paid out. They're going to get treated well on the way out. They can be part of the ascendancy. They don't want to be vilified. It's ego at the end of the day, and that's where I think Ratcliffe knows that and is trying to appeal to that a little more, and this story makes a lot of sense, which is that the Glazers don't want to sell full ticket because it could be worth $10 billion in 5 years. They want some upside. They want some shine. And how can you get it to them so you can do a deal? That does seem to me more realistic than just a straight $5 billion.
Yeah, it's a good point. At the end of the day, the idea of a new partial, what is it? If he's a partial owner or even he's a majority owner, but they still have a vote on the board, even if it's not like a huge vote, the Glazers hanging around is not good for anybody. And I think you mentioned it. That's why why do people do anything? Ego is a huge part of it. The Glazers want to stay relevant, and that's a huge part about I think why they love owning Manchester United beyond just the amount of money it's put in their pockets and how amount of money it will put in their pockets when they do sell the club is owning Manchester United gets you invited to Davos. And for these kind of billionaire people, I know the Glazers a little bit. I know the type. They care about going to Davos. It's like a big deal in that fucking little
Davos is so
in that community.
Last decade.
No, but for people who have an ego and care about that kind of thing and want to hang out with other billionaires, and you live in Tampa, you're not getting invited to Davos if you own the Tampa Bay Bucks. But if you own Manchester United, you're getting invited, and everyone's going to want to talk to you that cares about football. And at the same time, like I said, the ego has to be stroked, and unless it's stroked by $6 billion in cash, they want to have a say in how to continue to ruin the club. I'm sure they got lots of ideas around the next accountant that they can bring in to run the front office, or like you said so well at the beginning, like a trainer from Everton that's now our director of football. That's sleeping through phone calls like I am sometimes when I hit the snooze button trying to sign Erling Haaland for £2.5 million. This is going to go on for a while. Like I said, the news is also that both potential buyers are digging in for the long term. They're playing the long game, but I think the Glazers are also playing the long game. So we'll see how this develops.
There is no long game when you don't buy an asset. There is buying it or not, and hanging around the hoop isn't going to do anyone any good. Next bit of news here: Manchester United's £989 million squad, most expensive in the world. Our team is the most expensive in the world, and you look at that Man City team, and you're like, because that team is pretty good and it's pretty deep. And at the end of the day, we don't need to go player by player, but this is a critique about the Glazers overall and just how when you pair the CEO who can run the commercial business and a footballing operation with no experience, this is what you're going to have, which is spending a lot of money on players that, one of them we're going to talk about right now. Jadon Sancho. What's going on with Jadon Sancho? I don't know. I don't care at the end of the day. Somebody's got to play right wing for Manchester United. We got Facundo, put him in. We got Ahmad, put him in. As far as Jadon Sancho, this is what you're going to see. Classic playbook. Something's going on. Jadon Sancho is sulking. Manager and him have a showdown. Doesn't go well. And then smear him in the press. That's how it goes. Don't get it twisted. Jadon Sancho might not like Erik ten Hag for a very good reason. Jadon Sancho might have had really bad personal issues last year, right? And as far as Dutch guys go, they're pretty cold, just generally. Nothing against the Dutch. I'm from New Jersey. Peel from New Jersey, decently cold. Give you the shoulder, sharp elbows.
A little Dutch. We're a little Dutch.
Dutch in New Jersey. I don't know why, but
Dutch.
it's a similar thing. So you shouldn't shouldn't be hurt by it. But he's a hard man, tough guy to please. Jadon Sancho doesn't seem like he's into that. They don't like each other. They have showdown talks. Doesn't go well. And then all of a sudden you hear Jadon Sancho's the laziest bum you've ever met. Now, that is a tactic. And what doesn't make sense is that's a cheap win in the press now that hurts his value long term. So clearly both parties should sit down, figure it out, and then get the kid playing so he can look good, so he can leave and we can make money. It's called a win-win. And because you have Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh jumping in, those two numpties can't think about that or how to pitch that to him, because the only way is getting him back on the pitch playing well so he can get out of the club if he doesn't want to be there, or get a spot in the 11. That's the only thing to do here. So these two prima donnas got to work it out. And I'm not saying Ten Hag is wrong. I'm not saying Sancho's right. I'm just saying the only result is getting him back on the pitch.
No, 100%. You can talk about everything else, but at the end of the day, we need a right winger. Anthony's gone. He's in Brazil. And right wing is a position that nobody's locked down. Forget, if Anthony was available, it still wouldn't be locked down by any means. So we spent a lot of money on the right wing, 200 million pounds over the last 4 years. If you include the likes of Facundo and Ahmad, who I'm hoping will have their moment. Ahmad obviously is still injured with a knee injury, but he should be back by the end of the year, of the calendar year. Hey, man, this is another bust in the list of busts. Jadon Sancho is never going to come good. That's just my perspective. This is not a perspective of the pod, but I'm just speaking from my own view as being a United fan for now almost 20 years. He's never coming good. If we just have some of those players, like a Magoo, like a Donny van de Beek, probably like an Anthony, players that we chase for a long time.
You sell them early. You sell them
when you can.
You sell them
literally. But all the stuff coming out
early
about him is like, hey, bro, you're paying him $340 a week. He's like in the top 5 highest paid players in the league, let alone Manchester United, and he can't show up on time for practice.
Yeah, but if that's happening and the front office knows that,
I know,
they have to get rid of him.
I know they should.
The minute Ten Hag comes in,
yep.
Before everyone knows about it, before you air the dirty laundry and all this drama, you have to sell him before everyone knows. Before he has shine, you have to just say, hey, Erik ten Hag rebuild, doesn't rate him, he's out, you could get 50 million. Chelsea would pay you 55. You got to be able to play the game, get these guys out, get Harry Maguire out. That's what's killing this club, sir, at the minute, is not being able to sell these players because they just sit on your roster. And speaking of one of those players who sit on your roster, Harry Magoo.
Harry Magoo
playing the smallest violin in the world. This is something you look. And this is an England problem. We go to England, love the pies, love the people, great place. This media thing you got going on over there is nutter.
Oh, it's scary.
And this thing with Harry Maguire is even weirder because, first of all, Gareth Southgate is horrid and lost all these finals,
Horrible
right?
manager.
Just
Horrible
literally
manager.
put in Sancho and Rashford. By the way, Sancho and Rashford broke Sancho, putting him in the Euro, never played, puts him in for penalties.
Incredible.
Loses the Euro final at home, keeps his job, and then keeps playing Harry Maguire, even after he's dropped from Manchester United, and he's not playing well. Really not playing well. And then he plays him for England, keeps playing him, and he's not playing well for England. And then the only thing he's got to say is not how great England are, but how much he has to defend Harry Maguire. It's what is going on in this world? It's just bizarro land. I don't understand it. Harry Maguire's mom is playing the smallest violin.
Great sign. That's a great sign.
You got it. Harry Maguire's toxic. He's toxic. Ole got sacked. There's a photo of him that night, out to dinner,
at the pub.
with a fan, smiling. Ole just got can, and he's like out to dinner, just like, hey, like taking photos with people. Like the guy is just tone deaf. His interviews, he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand anything. Like he was playing horribly. He's releasing highlight reels on like Twitter.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He's
about
a
that.
liability,
He is.
and like at the end of the day, you got to get rid of people like this because Harry Maguire just shouldn't be a Manchester United problem. Let him go moan over at West Ham where nobody cares. We should have paid the fee to get him out the door. That's what these guys don't understand in the front office. It's like you got to get problems like this out. You know, this guy's a problem. He's a magnet for whatever. He's not playing well at football, and he doesn't think that he needs to play better. Like, that's just an issue. You got to get him out. That's not Manchester United. See ya. Pay the money.
You can't have these players hanging around that just don't add value anymore. And we've been very bad about shipping dead wood. Especially, we accumulated a lot of dead wood over the last decade. Harry Maguire is at the top of the heap, but he's not alone in that pile. We just talked about Jadon Sancho, and he's become dead wood. So you got to sell him. Even if you're taking a fucking big L on the chin, right? Like, if they pay him out $15 million for his contract and you only get 15 net after the fee from West Ham, it doesn't matter. You get rid of him because you don't need the negativity around the club. He's not really adding value. Also, England, the whole like England sports ecosystem. It's like they literally just like shit at him all day long. He goes and plays the game. All the England fans boo him, and then he scores an own goal.
He's also
and then
bad.
they talk about him more. I agree. He's not playing well.
But there's a reason
The
for
guy
it,
is like
you know?
delusional. Like I think he's shown that over the last 3 years. Is like his pressers be like, well, I'm obviously a great player because I'm the captain at Manchester United, even if I don't play well. Like he's clearly delusional. And for everybody's sake, we should just send him down to the Hammers, bro. But like you said. If you don't sell him now, you think he's worth $30 million next year when he keeps
He's
sitting on the
worth
bench?
nothing. He's worth nothing. I would have paid him to leave. I would have what's
And we
insane.
will.
What's the most insane thing about the front office is like you got to in business have to cut your losses, bro.
Right.
You have to take it on the chin. You have to say, "Hey, man, I just got to sell, and I got to take this big financial loss to just get out." That's what you have: wins, you have losses. It's like right now, Harry Maguire. You got to sell him. You have to pay him to cancel his contract. We never paid Phil Jones to leave. That's the same thing about this club. Just letting people hang around. It's stale. It's not good for the team. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't do that. You're running an elite sports organization. Jadon Sancho's literally like,
Same thing.
here you go.
He's the same thing.
Jadon Sancho goes like this. Try to get him back. Try to sell him in January. No one buys him. I literally give him a check for every penny he's owed, and he's gone. And he's not nowhere near
That's
this
a
football
big
team.
check, sir.
It doesn't not that much actually, if you really think about it.
He's at $340 a week, and how long is his contract? 4 more years.
No, it's like a $50 million check, but you got to get rid of him. You got to get rid of these people that are toxic. If he's no good and he's not going to play on the pitch, it's like, see you later. Here's a check. And then like he can try to figure his life out. You can't solve that for him.
No.
You know, it's like you can't have this guy hanging around like just like in the hot tub, like, hey
guys.
you know, it's like-
You see the news? I'm in the
like,
news a lot.
What do you want him on contract?
No,
Like,
you can't have him around because it's like we don't have that many players in the team.
You literally have to pay him.
You
Just
can't
like,
have
Here
him.
you go. You can have all this money. Just go. Just leave us alone, and we need to be doing.
Phil
it.
Jones just left, sir. Like, puts it in perspective. He just left last summer, finally.
That's the problem.
And
you have to get rid
Sancho
of players.
might just stay forever. Like, he might just stay until the end of his contract because nobody's going to pay him that contract, bro. We're going to be taking a big L regardless.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Sir, any more news from your end? Any other things we got to talk about?
I mean, they're talking about Palestri. How about you give him some minutes about a new contract? Like, he needs some time. He needs playing time. He's a player that we've all rated, has a lot of potential, and also has shown to be an impact player when he actually gets on the pitch. So, long-term contract, that sounds great, but this is the moment. It's like, we know Eric Ten Hag is a stubborn bastard. We know he has his guys, but Palestri has earned the shot. He has earned the shot. It's time, right? Sancho, whole incident, and Anthony is unavailable, so it's like it's time to switch it up. And the best way to
he
switch
should
it up,
start.
Facundo Palestri should start one of the next 2 games, whether it's probably
It's
Brighton,
It's
instead of like away to Bayern, and that's a treat. But it's his time, and he's ready to go, and he's a player, and I think the only way he's going to get better is if he gets minutes.
All right, jump into the fan questions at mhersey5. Quote, if you could put one former player in our squad today, who would it be and why?
Any play. I mean, like, just for me, because I'm a numpty and he's my boy, prime Wayne Rooney. Like, we need a striker. We need dogs in this team. He's got dogs for day. You know, there'd be other player like, who wouldn't want a Roy Keane? Who wouldn't want a great center back, a Rio, a Vidic, an RVP and RVN? But I take Waza all day for me. Who you got, sir?
I got Roy Keane. We're like soft serve FC.
Not a good choice.
Although, there was articles about Ronaldo coming out from Mike Phelan saying that he tried to raise the bar and everybody was kind of like, which is not a surprise. He's also a lunatic, but like Ronaldo coming in and trying to raise the bar, everyone's response to that was like,
Well, it was Rangnick era. Remember that? That was like nightmarish.
What I was saying is like Harry Maguire's reaction to Ronaldo coming in and like being like, we got to work harder was just like, I'm fine, bro. Like that seems to that it does seem to be that. There was a lot of that type of dysfunction in the locker room. At AB_man99, any chance we can beat Brighton at the weekend? Well, I predicted that we'd lose. Alex predicted a draw, so you know where we stand. Look, of course, anything can happen at a theater of dreams. I still hoping that we can win. I'm just kind of like being cautious on the prediction here, But if we come out organized, playing our game, we'll be fine and we'll win.
That's right.
But if we, I don't know who's going to show up. I don't know how we're going to that Wolves game was like. I was like, we're 100% going to stomp them, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You look at Bruno, you look at the players, and just not playing well. At D_Cole18, team full of bluffers. There you go. Only in it for the money. Magoo's got his mommy crying on Insta for him. Love that take. Sancho's out partying and gaming over being a professional. Martial can't walk into Carrington without getting hurt. None of the players give a shit because the owners don't care. Dumpster fire. Look, it's got that type of vibes. I understand the frustrations to start the season, but let's hope our bald manager can figure it all out and sort it out. He has done it before. And I would argue there was more drama, and it was more of a dumpster fire last year. So, let's give him time. Let's give this season time right before Brighton and Hove Albion. Sir, what a podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. Check out our website, americadevils.com. AmericaDevils.store for merch. Everything you buy supports this small-time operation. Sir, you got our top 10 cities last 7 days.
I do. Number one, how you doing? Los Angeles, California, New York, Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Brooklyn, New York, Miami, Florida, Dallas, Texas, and last but not least, Portland, Oregon. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. The only thing, the best recipe, the best remedy for controversy and, tough morale is good football and good results. I'm not sure we're going to get that game one coming out of the international break, but let's go. Let's bring it to Brighton. Let's play like we know we can. Let's show up for minute one and play the minute 98 or however how much stoppage time they add, and let's show up and let's batter them Blues of the South Coast.
Is it going to be the bounce? Is this going to be the game we come out, we fight for the shirt, we show everyone the football we want to play? Or is this going to be the dead cat bounce where we go, oh no. That's kind of where this could go. Nobody knows, but I'm going to be cheering them on, and so will the Stretford End. Come on, United. Let's beat the Seagulls.
I say,